of the words collected proceeds.
Absolutely, Senator. You have my assurance. And let me further go on to say that the majority of Americans voluntarily file their tax returns honestly. But we are all aware that there is tax fraud and there is tax evasion, as you said, and we need to be diligent. And I believe that the whistleblower laws are a very important part of that. So I will work very hard with you on that. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Stabenow.
I would absolutely want to look at. And Senator Wyden, by the way, I wanted to thank you for, I'm now in great esteem of having the Mnuchin rule with both the Buffett rule and the Volcker rule. I take that as a great compliment. So thank you for putting me in with these other great people.
Okay. Thank you. Senator Nelson.
Good morning. I enjoyed our visit yesterday. Were you a director of Dune Capital International Limited, a Cayman Islands Corporation?
I was, that is correct.
Did you move a hedge fund, Dune Capital Partners LLC, to Anguilla?
So, Senator, first let me just comment. When we talk about moving, okay, you know, it's not as if I had 50 people sitting in his office, as we've talked about.
Right, I understand.
And moving it.
What was
I do want to comment, and yes, so Dune Capital LLC, which was our master fund, and not to get into the nuances of this, but when one runs an onshore fund and an offshore fund, there's certain efficiencies of keeping the assets in what's called a master fund. And because we set up the master fund in Anguilla, I was required to change Dune Capital Partners to become a foreign entity. So that was the reason for it. But let me just comment.
Right.
Okay.
No, I'm running out of time. I've got to get to the question.
Sorry.
The question is, both of those were for a tax consequence located in the Caymans as well as Anguilla. And so the question is, you said you support tax reform. Do you support closing those kind of tax avoidance provisions? The Anguilla and the Cayman Islands type tax avoidance in the tax code.
So let me just comment that when I did move it, I had to apply to the IRS, and the IRS approved it as a foreign eligible entity to be taxed as a U.S. partnership. So from my standpoint, it made no difference to me whether it was located in Delaware.
That's not my question.
I'm giving you a slightly longer answer. I apologize. It's a complicated issue.
Can you just answer the question?
The short answer is yes, as I've said before. I think that I would work with the IRS and with Congress, okay, as I've said. It makes no sense, okay, that we have all these requirements to set up these offshore entities, which again, didn't benefit me, but did benefit certain nonprofits and pensions. And we should address the issues for nonprofits and pensions and understand why they need to invest through these offshore funds. Now, I wouldn't want to do anything that's detrimental to the pension holders or these nonprofits, but I would commit to work with your office, Senator, and make sure that we fix the system.
All right. We talked about IndyBank yesterday and becoming One West. And you said you bought, when you acquired IndyBank, the portfolio of reverse mortgages. And to your credit, you said that once it became One West, that you did not sell any more reverse mortgages. And yet, you as the CEO, I want you to comment on the fact that of the reverse mortgages that you acquired from IndyBank, some of the folks were not treated very well. I mentioned to you yesterday, a 90-year-old Lakeland woman was foreclosed on because of a 27-cent payment error. I did not mention two others. Foreclosing on an 80-year-old Orange Park, Florida woman that your bank claimed didn't live in the home, when in fact she did, and she happened to have the foreclosure papers served on her in the home that the bank said she didn't live in. Another example, a married couple in their 50s trying to make the best of everything. They asked for a loan modification of West Bank, and then, which they were eligible for, and instead they were foreclosed on. Explain to the committee, if you would, and I think you're an earnest, well-intentioned person, but you're sitting there as a CEO and this stuff is happening that is very unfair to little people. Why?
First of all, Senator, again, thank you for taking the opportunity to meet with me. I appreciated that and the time to speak about these important issues. Let me first say, to the extent that we made any errors or we ever foreclosed on anybody, I completely understand that the hardship that created. As I mentioned, we did go through an independent foreclosure review, and unfortunately there were some issues, very, very low rates relative to everybody else, but there were some issues, and we paid money to those people to make them whole, and I earnestly feel terrible for any mistakes at the bank.